Okay, so before we get into the review for actual episode 3, I've got a theory that I need to share with people. And if you've seen the title of this episode's review, you know exactly what it is. I don't think Hayato's a real person at all. Hayato, or SpeedStar, he is just a figment of Mitsumune's imagination. I mean, when you think about it, what has Hayato done in the last 3 episodes? Nothing, right? The whole time, he's only ever talked to Mitsumune. Nobody else has ever interacted with Hayato. Despite the fact that he looks so cool, he's constantly around Mitsumune. When shit's actually going down, Hayato's nowhere to be found. He's just not there, or he's blending into the back of the crowd. It's weird. Far too weird for someone who's constantly looking after Mitsumune and saying to the dude what to do. I mean, we saw in this episode, he really tells him what to do and tries to look out for him, but every other step of the way, nah, he's just doing nothing, and he doesn't actually look after Mitsumune when there's danger because, you know, if there was danger, Hayato should be doing something physical to help Mitsumune, but he's not a physical thing. He's not really there. That's my opinion. I mean, there is only one person who has actually mentioned Hayato at all, and that's Leon. Episode 2, when they're climbing up the hill with all the equipment towards the cursed village after they leave the bus driver, Hayato and Mitsumune are having a little argument. The point where Hayato said that Mitsumune falls in love with girls too easily, and then he walks off. And then Leon walks up to Mitsumune and says, "Are you having a lover's quarrel? It's weird for 2 guys to be travelling together." But she still never does anything with Hayato himself. Nobody ever does. And so I'm thinking the reason that she comments on this at all is because she was sitting behind Mitsumune on the bus. She kicked his chair to tell him he was talking too much, that kind of stuff. Like, I think he's been talking to himself, and she's caught on. She's clocked on to the fact that he's got a split personality disorder, and she was just confirming it at that point while they were going up the hill. It's also interesting to note that in the opening, there's a little shot where Leon is staring out one side of a window, Hayato is staring out another side of the window. She turns around to look at him. So I think that's another little hint that she's the only one that's really paying attention to Hayato, and nobody else really is. Nobody else has noticed how batshit Mitsumune is, even though he is completely batshit. And we're going to get into that now that we're going into the episode 3 review. So episode 3 was pretty goddamn great. And now in this one, the mystery's finally started. We've got a dead body. And the guy totally deserved to die. Fuck Yottsun. No fucking joke. He deserved it. I mean, Misaki was clearly put through some shit by Yottsun. I mean, I kind of agree with the blonde guy. I have no idea what his name is. Where he was saying that Yottsun probably forced himself on her. When she had her dress ripped open at the top and at the bottom. She had a bruise on the side of her neck. I mean, how do you get a bruise on the side of your neck from falling down a hill? Generally, that's the kind of part your body would naturally, instinctively try to protect, your neck and your head. Ugh. Anyway, it's what it feels like to me, but then she's trying to defend him. She's saying, no, it wasn't anything like that, and she's mysterious as fuck as it is. I mean, she has been OCD this whole time. She puked on the bus. She probably hasn't travelled too much. I'm starting to wonder if Misaki isn't actually from this village itself. Just only raised here. And then sent out into the world to bring more people in. Maybe for some sort of ritual killing, or I don't know. I have no idea what's going on right now, to be honest. I mean, the whole thing with the bus driver coming back made me think that this was a setup, but now we've got a dead body, so now it's like, wow. Something's actually going on, and I have no idea at this point what it could be. There was that creepy moment in the forest where they heard the loud growling. They saw the claw marks on the tree, and there was blood. Ridiculous shit that they didn't ever go back into the forest to check around the bloody area, because they were all just too scared of the idea that there might be a bear out there. I mean, a guy has gone missing. There's blood soaked into a tree, giant claw marks. And yet nobody seems too interested in looking around that general area. And then we've got our freaky as shit main character, Mitsumune, who possibly has an imaginary friend in his head. Leon possibly knows this. And he's seeing all kinds of shit. I mean, he's having dreams where he's getting blown up by a basketball. And at this point, he saw an eye staring at him out of a bush. And the eye looked kind of freaked out. It didn't look like it was staring at him intently. It looked like it was looking around in fear. My only question is, did this actually happen, or was this Mitsumune's craziness? Because, I mean, everybody else ran the fuck away when they heard the growling coming towards them. Mitsumune just stood there, stood his ground, and then saw this. So I'm wondering, did it actually happen at all? Is it just Mitsumune's craziness? Can we trust anything that's going on in this anime yet? It is getting really damn good, though. I mean, so many of the characters are getting fleshed out. There are some that obviously aren't going to get fleshed out. I mean, we never found out much about Yottsun's past. We didn't need to. He's a dick. He's dead. There are a couple of other characters that are clearly going to end up the same way, even if they're not bad people. All of them are psychotic, though, man. I mean, we've got Jack, who was being bullied so intensely he eventually went in and stabbed a kid and then got put into juvie. Found his way out. He's now on the tour. We've got Valkana, who was just thrown away. I mean, the company had possibly made a mistake, or maybe Valkana's lying about this, and actually it was his mistake, and he's still running away from the responsibility. I mean, since he's come on this tour, he's basically trying to take responsibility for everyone anyway. He's constantly trying to be the leader. He's trying to make sure there's no mistakes, sure, but he is constantly putting himself in the thick of it and telling people what to do and gathering people around him, and I think that's why Cuchallain is so interested in him. His little story that he put out where he was used as a scapegoat by the company representatives doesn't really make sense, because then he's like, I refuse to ever take responsibility. I refuse to be a scapegoat again, but he's putting himself into that position. And meanwhile, we've got the opposite from Yuna, who is just continuously placing responsibility on everyone else. I mean, she seems like the office lady type. So she probably would have been the type to actually accuse Valkana and let him take the fall for it. I mean, this whole time she's like blaming Jack. She's blaming Misaki for her not telling the truth. She just constantly points fingers and says, it's your fault. It's your responsibility. This kind of bullshit. She's annoying. And then we've got Cuchallain is just so cool. I mean, I think Cuchallain's kind of digging Valkana. Even though he slammed her up against a wall at this point, she just kind of chilled with the whole thing. When he said he was going to hit her, she completely called his bluff and said, go ahead and try. Just collapsed on the ground and stared at him as he went. That could turn into a very interesting relationship. I'm not sure if she's trying to heal him or if she's just attracted to the wrong kind of broken person. Either way, it could turn into a very fun relationship. Cuchallain is creepy all on her own level. And then we've got goddamn Lovepon, and I honestly can't say for sure what's gone on in Lovepon's past, but she is kind of fucking broken. I mean, if you remember in the first episode when she was on the bus, she said the reason she joined the tour was to protect her identity. And in this episode, she's just gone completely insane. From the beginning, she was saying, oh, maybe they all executed each other. And then she's like, we should execute him for doing this. We should execute him for doing that. At this point, she tried to execute Jack and then took Mitsumune down in the river and was literally holding him under the water, trying to kill him. She is completely fucking insane. There's clearly something in her past that's broken her, but I have no idea what. I mean, she said this whole line about how if you let a person who's done something wrong get away with it, everyone will suffer. So I'm guessing it's something like that. There's been a case where something has gone wrong. She's seen it. She hasn't punished the person. Maybe she was asked by the police to say who did it and she didn't. And then the killer got out and killed everyone else. I can only assume it's something like that. And that's why she believes in the death penalty so much now and is just ready to kill anyone who does anything wrong. God damn, man. That scene was crazy. I mean, Mitsumune proved his insanity as well there, because he's being choked under the water and he's not really freaking out that much. He's just like, look, Bond, stop. But then when he sees her goddamn tits through her shirt, then he freaks out and shoves her away and he's like, oh my god, I can't believe even a time like this. Like, he's popping a fucking boner while being choked to death by a psycho. He is so fucked up. I mean, SpeedStar said this whole thing about them coming from the same school, coming from an old boys' school. But even then, you're not that sexually repressed. There is something that is completely fucked him over when it comes to girls in his life, and I have no idea what. But that seems to be the whole thing. They're going to reveal to us bit by bit what's going on with these characters, and until they do, it's really up for debate. I just really hope it does turn out that Hayato isn't real. That would be my win from this series. Anything else could happen. Still don't know who the killer is. I mean, they finally found Yottsun's dead body, so we know there's a killer. Don't know what's up with all the weird sound effects in the forest, the bear thing, the bus driver coming back. I am mind-fucked by it all. So let me know what you guys think is going on in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about my Hayato theory and everything else from this episode. If you like this review, wreck that like button like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more. And I will see you guys next time.